Imagine knowing exactly what your students are learning and exactly which steps you need to take next.
Join us in Down with the Reading Quiz to craft meaningful and productive formative assessments that move away from gotcha moments of basic recall and toward assessing what your students actually can do.
In this 30-minute free masterclass, we'll share 3 powerful assessment keys that work for any novel at any time of the year.
Head to shop.bravenewteaching.com/masterclass to sign up, and we'll also send you a free workbook to keep track of all your notes.
Once again, that's shop.bravenewteaching.com/masterclass to nail formative assessments forever.
Well, hello and welcome back to Brave New Teaching, and welcome to a little reading update. Hi, Amanda.
Good morning, Marie. Good morning, listeners. How's everyone doing?
It is morning for the two of us. We woke up early to take care of our, respective children, and then hop on here to do a little chit chat, updating the books that we have been reading. Right now, it is midsummer. Amanda will tell you until she's blue in the face that the 4th of July is the end of summer. And I disrespectfully reject that. I was going to say respectfully, but no, I do not accept that.
I know. We're just on totally different clocks. That's all.
No, it's true. And I feel like I finally found a feeling of summer. I'm not going to say I'm relaxed because this is not the summer for that, apparently, in Marie's life. But I just don't feel like the rat race is what I'm engaged in at the moment.
It's around here, the clock is ticking. There's a lot of people in the Midwest going back to school the first week of August. So it just, I don't know. Well, now that I'm not in the classroom and I'm in the business of helping teachers, my clock has also kind of gone back because I need to be prepared to help teachers when they are ready to go back to school. So everything, like, I feel like the whole summer is back to school for me, being prepared for everybody else. But it's okay. I don't mind it. I love the season, and I don't have the panic of a first day looming ahead of me because I'm just now working every day.
Honestly, I don't have the panic of a first day. And this year, if you guys have been listeners, if you've been around the podcast for a minute, you'll know that the last 2 summers, I have not been able to go into my classroom because of construction on campus. And I am that girl. Like, I like to touch base. If I don't keep my toe, at least in the water of school, it is a shock when I go back. Like, it takes me weeks to recover in more than just the normal ways of like, oh, I can't pee when I want to. And I can't, my coffee is cold again. I don't get to drink hot coffee like I did during the summer when I wasn't in my classroom. Like, that all absolutely is still happening. But if my brain can completely shut off a mode, restarting that mode is real rough. And I know I'm not the only one like that. Amanda's like that too. And many of you out there have told us that you're like that too. Like, if you don't kind of keep the gear going, it will rust. And then you have to
start over.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. Yes. So, and I like going in. So I've been doing a whole classroom setup series on my YouTube channel, and it has been very cleansing, I will say, and therapeutic to go through things and just set myself up for success in the future.
And I think maybe that'd be a fun episode to go through and have listeners tell what is your mental story, when it comes to this stuff, because I am just like that. I feel like I need to keep, and I've always really preferred and wished that we had more of a year-round school type of option, or at least entertained it, because after teaching for so long, I couldn't stand the gas to the floor 9 months and then completely on the brakes for the summer. Just the way that it's set up is, to me, has been so counterproductive. I don't actually rest, like you said, during those months off. I'd rather have a healthier work-life balance over the course of the year and have more breaks during the year. But no one asked me. No one ever asked me.
Well, because if it's only a week or even 2 weeks, you can keep your brain on the back burner and actually relax a little bit and not forget about the 16 things that you were going to do, because then inevitably during the summer, I forget about all 16 if I don't keep this going, stoking the fire, right? And then I get back to school and a month in, I go, oh, those 16 things. Well, those aren't going to happen. It just kind of, and if we have this hard of a time, imagine being a child or adolescent brain. Come on, there's no way.
I can't tell you how many teachers that I've coached and we have this conversation. Everyone's coming out of the woodwork wanting coaching right now. And I'm trying my best to help people because teachers.
But you have to help me first.
Obviously. But
For free.
they're saying the same thing. Like, and this is what I think is, we're totally off track, but like, it is so unfair to expect teachers to both teach the children and have the creative brain space to develop curriculum at the exact same time. And so that's exactly what we're talking about. So that's why we do this podcast. That's why we're trying to be there for you, because it is really hard to think of all the great ideas in the midst of doing the thing. I mean, it's almost impossible, but no one here is asking you either to give up your entire summer to plan curriculum either. It's just, I don't know, it's all messed up. So we're just,
I mean, I think we will say this until people stop listening, and then we'll keep saying it because we will listen to each other. True. Just do what's right for you, right? Like what's right for me is working in my classroom right now. And what's right for Amanda is helping others who are ready get ready and get moving forward. And if you're like, oh, hell no. Like I was at the beginning of the summer, Amanda started saying back to school and I wasn't even at graduation. I was like, you need to stop it with that mess. You need to back right off of that microphone or I'm coming through the screen at you. But now I'm at a point of like, you know what, actually I'm kind of excited. Like I'm excited to see my students who are part of my, cause I'm teaching drama. Like we've got our officers on the drama board, and we're going to be meeting over the next couple of weeks to plan shows and events. And like, I'm pumped. I'm excited. We're not completely off topic for today. I mean, yes, we are. Today, we're talking about an update to our summer reading, but at the same time, like we are going to start doing more regularly, like reading updates, because we're English teachers and we're dorks and this is part of our lives. And it's not just during the summer or just during winter break that we read or just during spring break. We read all year long. Why? Because we love it. So let's talk about it and make sure that it's part of our daily lives. Did you like that? Did I bridge it? Did it work?
You did bridge it. And for those of you who have been listening like in real time with us, we are in the midst of our summer camp BNT. We've been interviewing authors and debriefing. We're taking a brief little break to kind of let people catch up. And just to tell you what else we've been reading. We haven't talked to all these authors, not yet. There's a handful on this list that I'm going to try to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Friedrich Bachman, I'm coming for you. Spoiler alert. But yeah, no, I think this is a good episode to kind of give us a break to breathe and talk about all the fun things we've been doing outside of we have like 4 jobs, you and I. So
yeah. And then we're moms. So
yeah, I counted that as one of my jobs.
Oh, you did? No, that's just the icing on the cake, babe.
Definitely the hardest job.
I'm excited to talk about the books I've read and the books that are on my list. And I don't know that any of these was on my spring. I don't know what the last time we did this.
We did a reading update what we did in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
23. And my 23 is
well, I think I just kind of jammed straight through all of that. And now my brain is in what's most recent and what's coming. Yeah. Like what's either in my library wish list because your girl's going to the librry because I can't afford my own addiction. I
mean, I'm going to the library.
And they let you.
Sort of. I have some overdue books, so I got to take care of that today.
I do too. But you know what we should do? We should ignore the overdue books and then cue the music.
You're listening to Brave New Teaching, and we are so much more than a podcast.
We give teachers the inspiration, support, and tools to challenge the status quo.
I'm Amanda, and I'm a former English teacher from Illinois.
And I'm Marie, and I'm a teacher from Southern California.
Join us at bravenewteaching.com to find out more about our courses, festivals, and get every episode's show notes.
We're so glad you're here. Enjoy the show. Okay, Amanda, my first book. I want to jump in here with a book that I've been reading that will come as a surprise to nobody once you hear what it's about. And it's actually because I was having a really bad day earlier this summer. And my dear friend, Amanda, I say this all the time, friends, you got to get yourselves an Amanda. You can't have mine.
Or Marie, let's be clear.
Because she's mine. But I was out to dinner with a friend of mine and my phone goes off and it's like my motion sensor cameras in my driveway and it's all motion in your driveway. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So my friend and I are sitting there watching this sedan just sit at my driveway of my empty house. And the man's standing there and he's on his phone, and then he gets back in the car, and then he gets out of the car, and then he's like fiddling around with a bag. And we are watching this unfold in real time. And then I watch what looks like a birthday gift bag get dropped off on my doorstep. And I was like, what the actual hell? Meanwhile, as I'm going, oh my God, about to like call somebody, my parents, her husband, to like go to my house to be like, just sit there and stare and see what's happening. Amanda texts me and it's like, are you home? And I was like, oh, okay. And my sweet, sweet friend had sent me a candle and a book and some snacks because she knew I was having a really bad day and a really bad week. And that book is one of the books on my list because I am absolutely loving it. Yes. See more of the story.
Alert, if you have the Target shipped like membership, you can use it at any Target.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Right. So like I just logged into my Target app with your address, your Target, and then sent delivery to your house from Chicago.
And it was like the best surprise because I felt so special. Yes.
Oh, so did the delivery driver. He was really feeling himself. He was very, very like, I am part of this long distance friendship. And I was like, dude, I just asked you to put the stuff in the gift bag so that it wasn't a bunch of Target bags. But
so it was just Target bags.
He was like so proud of himself. I'm like, can you just like make it like a gift? He's like, oh, well, what size bag? I go, well, for the things you're shopping for. I go like, this is it. These are the things I have chosen.
Yeah.
This is what I would do if I lived down the street, but I don't. So I need you to do that. And oh no, it was quite the mission for a candle, a book, and some chocolate.
Funny.
Yeah.
Well, and then the investigation that my friend at dinner and I were like going to be going through, I was like, okay, it looks like this doesn't look like a student, doesn't look like too old, too young to be like, we had all of these theories running. We're like, it's the wrong address. And oh my gosh, I'm going to get somebody else's like package. And it was funny. And then I got home and it was like so perfect.
I had sent you like a long, like emotionally charged Voxer message, but of course you're at dinner with so you're not listening to your Voxer. So I was like, ooh, maybe I should text her in case she doesn't hear my message.
Well, because generally speaking, most of our Voxer messages are about Brave New Teaching, right? So
correct.
It was just really, it was really funny. Well, okay. So the book itself was These Infinite Threads by Tahereh Mafi, which is the second in what I've just found out is going to be a 3-book series.
Okay.
Get excited. The first book in the series is called This Woven Kingdom. Tahereh Mafi wrote Very Large Expanse of Sea, which is not fantasy, which is realistic fiction, which is one of my favorite ever YA books, like ever. The freshman team at my school, after me pushing me, like, you guys all have to read this book. It's part of like one of their Lit Circle units. They do it in book clubs, and students love it because it's so good. And I just love the writing, and like she's got such a lyrical way that she writes that sometimes she can get caught in the weeds of description in like a Tolkien way, but it's her, so I can do it. Like if I'm reading Tolkien, I will skip full chapters because I'm like, we get it. It was sand.
But did you really get it?
But did you get the sand?
It was really grainy.
In these books, her world building is really like subtle and beautiful, and it's really good. I really like it. I'm 2/3 of the way through the second book, These Infinite Threads, which is the one that you gave me.
Okay.
And I jammed through the first one. I've just been really sleepy this week. Yeah, so I keep falling asleep reading the second one. But then I get these like very weird dreams. So like read in bed with caution. Yeah.
Noted. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm really happy. Well, the cover was so beautiful. I had no idea it was a series, but I did know her name. And then I thought, okay, the cover has some kind of dagger dragon situation.
Right. There are vines.
I knew it. I knew really I knew her. And I was like, and I had heard about the series, and I had heard a lot of conversation around like her two different genres and which people preferred. And I mean, I didn't really know one way or the other, but I'm glad you like it. That's awesome.
do. I love it. What is your, I mean, literally, this has been my favorite read of the summer. And I kind of, well, other than stuff that I've been reading for camp, BNT,
yeah,
I don't really remember anything else that I've read other than this and the camp stuff. So
I've read quite a bit, and this is new for me. The amount of reading that I've done.
You've been very active in your reading, and
I don't know what the switch was that got turned. I mean, definitely part of it for me is audiobooks. I mean, I definitely, that was a huge switch for me, but that's not new. I don't know why I'm just cruising faster through books these days, but I don't know. It's a total switch from last year, but I can say I probably have 3 to rave about. Okay. And I can do my raving really fast. So
okay.
I don't know what took me so long, but I was in Pittsburgh with the Keeping the Wonder crew in May and had a wonderful time there doing all the wonder things. And I got the chance to spend the day with Abby, Miss Abby Gross, the day after. So we just kind of hung out and did some, no, that's not when I did it. No, I went down to Ohio. I'm like, my brain is like, well, talk about mush. I went to Keeping the Wonder. I saw everyone. I said, hey, I stayed with Abby. And then at the end of May, I went down to Ohio for a PD. That's what I was doing. Right. Abby lives in Ohio. Oh my gosh. Abby, shout out. Okay. Listen, I know where you live. And anyway, so after my PD, I spent a day with Abby hanging out. That's what I did. And we went to this adorable little bookshop in Miamisburg. And of course, neither one of us needed to buy more books. Right. But we did some shopping and she picked up Beartown. And we both were looking at it like, man, I've never read it and I've never wanted to read it, but people
I've never even heard of it. Have I?
People, yes, you have.
Oh, have I?
This is Beartown. I brought it with me.
No, I have not. But okay.
Friedrich Bachman.
Oh, yes. I see the HBO sticker. Yes.
Right.
I have yeah.
Anxious People, A Man Called Ova.
Okay.
I also read A Man Called Ova, but Abby and I are like, yeah, we're both athletes. We both grew up in sports, but this is a hockey town book. And we're like, I don't care about hockey.
Right.
And she's like, I'm going to grab it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get it on my Libby and we're going to do it. And both of us at the same time crushed through it. And it is like probably one of my favorite reads in my adult life. I loved Beartown so much. It is way more than a hockey book. Way more. Yes, the setting is a hockey town, but the layers and the nuance of the town's people, the stories surrounding what's going on in their town. I mean, it's just so rich. It's got a ton of characters, which I love. And the writing is just really, really gorgeous. So I was very surprised by Beartown.
Oh, good.
So,
no, I do remember you talking to me about that before when you said hockey, especially. I was like, oh, yes, you have mentioned this.
Finally got, I mean, this is old. This is like 2017, I think.
Oh, so old.
Not old, but like I totally missed the hype. And I think I do remember trying it. I did like a first page Friday or something with it.
Yeah.
But, okay, so Beartown is where it's at. Resources incoming. Okay, before Beartown, I actually had a book with my book club that was awesome. Again, in a genre that I never read science fiction. Dystopia? Sure. Science fiction?
Not so much.
Not so much. But we had chosen... I did not vote for this, but I was overrun. We voted on... Where is it? Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian. Matt Damon, has seen the movie The Martian with Matt Damon. This is who I'm talking about. So we're talking about like outer space science fiction. Right. And a lot of science is in this book. And I thought, oh boy. And it's like a 18-hour audiobook. It's like it's a thick one.
That's yeah.
I couldn't give it 5 stars fast enough. I loved it. And I think what makes a difference too is when you listen to it, you can speed it up. So like where you are talking about like skipping around, there are definitely sections of lots of scientific blabber, but the personality of this person. So basically the premise is this new species of amoeba is like taking over the earth because it is it's fed by, it's eating the sun. It's eating the sun is what it's doing. It's eating up the sun. It feeds on light.
Okay.
So Earth is in danger because we're going to lose the sun. So basically the scientists are trying to figure out like either A, how do we kill it, or B, how do we get somewhere with a new sun? Because we're goners. And so this whole process sends this one former teacher. At one point, he's like a middle school science teacher. He like just leaves his class. I'm like, okay, that of all the unrealistic things in this book, that was probably the most unrealistic.
That's really funny. Yeah. He would never leave his classroom. They have state testing coming up.
Who does that?
Yeah.
No one just leaves school. And he goes to outer space. He does the whole thing. And when he's out there, he meets another alien, which again, like you hear this, you think, really? But like their friendship, they learn how to communicate with each other. And it's sweet. It's funny. It's human. Even though you're in the midst of this insane science fiction, I loved it. And if this ever becomes a movie, I will be the first one to go see it. I loved it. And I was very surprised.
Are you trying to tell me in a very veiled way that you've been reading the Ice Planet Barbarians series? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
No? Okay. Some of our listeners, this is completely different than what you're talking about. There's a podcast I listen to that I've tried to get you to listen to called Forever 35.
I do listen to it.
Oh, okay. So Dory and Kate, the hosts of the podcast, are both authors, and they talked about reading Ice Planet Barbarians. Is that what it's called? And it is the most, first of all, it's filthy romance. And it's like with Ice Planet aliens and people, and it's a whole thing. And they have these relationships, and it would have been funnier if you knew what I was talking about. But nevertheless, here we are. Well, I told a bad joke, if we're going to be honest. Like,
okay.
Yeah. But those of you who know the series that I'm talking about probably just
they're laughing in their car. Yeah.
They just chortled a little bit on the treadmill. They were like, ha. And that was it.
I don't know. I mean, everyone has a thing, right? Like,
it's true.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
this one, I think this book, I can picture the very solid handful of young men that would love that, like in my library, like at school.
Yeah. Your kids. Yeah, you're talking about students again. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about students.
I was like, where are we going? I'm thinking about Ice Planets.
I could get other people behind it, but it would take a lot of convincing. So definitely not a curriculum book, but really surprisingly delightful. And I don't know how The Martian. I never read The Martian. I just saw the movie. So
me neither. So neither one.
Last one, and I know you need to read this one because you've read Firekeeper's Daughter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sequel came out just like yesterday, basically. What is the title? Why am I blanking on it?
I have it somewhere too.
I know. I was just in my Goodreads. Hello. Warrior Girth.
Let's start that over.
Warrior Girl Unearthed was phenomenal. Angeline Boulley loved it. Absolutely adored it. It was a little slow to start. There were definitely
so was Firekeeper though. Like so was
Agreed. And I was by the end of the story, I was like, I have gone a lot of places. I am not where I thought I was going to end up at all, and really loved it. I really loved it. I also have like I live nearby and visit the Upper Peninsula all the time. And that's where the setting of this novel is. So it's like got a special little place in my heart to hear her talking about all these places that I know and these. It's just kind of cool. But I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was just as good, if not better, than Firekeepers. And
because I loved Firekeepers Daughter.
Yeah. No, I really, really loved it. I thought it was endearing, sweet, smart, funny.
Okay.
Challenging. I thought it was really, really good. But yeah, those are definitely my top 3. I can tell you what I was disappointed by, but I don't want to get anybody too riled up.
Does anybody want to take a turn to Negative Town? I don't know. Well, maybe we can share the ones that you're disappointed with on social media.
I can just say that they're
start
all
a riot.
I'm trying to read romance is all I want to say. I'm trying.
No, you don't like it. Why are you trying to make such a thing? You don't
because
like it.
I really want to like stuff. And okay.
It's not that you don't like stuff. You just don't like good stuff.
Okay. All right. So I dipped my toe into Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez, and I have been like mixed bag, impressed and not impressed. So that's all I have to say.
Well, let's talk about my TBR then, shall we? Because Emily Henry is 3 spots on my TBR.
Oh, good. Let's go there.
Oh, excellent. So in my classroom cleanout, I went through my beautiful rainbow of books that I had up on my bookshelves and realized that as pretty as the rainbow of books was, kids weren't touching it because it was a freaking rainbow and it was too pretty. Like they didn't want to mess up the display.
Yeah, well, way to go.
The books were just sitting there not getting read. So I took everything down and have changed things up. There's a whole Shakespeare shrine. I don't even think I've told you about this yet. That's happening.
A shrine. Yes.
A shrine. It is no less than a shrine in my classroom.
Good.
Like,
good.
I think I'm going to put battery operated candles and everything. So in taking down that display and like just trying to like rearrange it so that kids will actually read the books that are there, I pulled out What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. They also wrote together They Both Die at the End.
Okay.
Okay. So I have been wanting to read this book, and I had a brand new copy chilling in my classroom all this time.
All this time.
So that one's next. Okay. And then you said Emily Henry. I've decided that I'm just going to give the fluffy non-fantasy books a go. So I've got in the following order of like, well, how I'll be reading them: Book Lovers, Beach Read, and People We Meet on Vacation. Which ones have you read? You're slowly blinking. So
okay. Well, I'm still here. I read Book Lovers and I loved Book Lovers.
Okay. Is that one a movie? Am I lying?
No.
Netflix? Hulu?
No.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. Maybe it is.
Okay.
But I love that one. I was suspicious of it at first, and then it took a pleasant turn into less predictable territory. And I liked that. The other two I haven't read. The one that I was disappointed in is her newest one, Happy Place.
Oh, well, I'm anti-happy right now, so.
I didn't finish it, Marie. I returned it halfway through and I was like, I'm not going to finish this. I was so upset.
Dang.
Okay, so there you go.
Well, yeah, so that's going to be my
is a great start. I loved Book Lovers.
I'm excited. Yeah. I was at my family's little cabin up in the mountains the last 2 weekends in a row, actually. And so I left What If It's Us up there because the next time I go up, I'm just going to read it. So actually it might not be next because I'm going to finish these Infinite Threads pretty quickly. And Book Lovers might be next. But there are a couple others. I have one that's in a fantasy series that I love by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Her newest in the Blood and Ash series is called A Soul of Ash and Blood, to change it up for you. And it is released July 18th. And I'm excited because it will be at my doorstep July 18th.
That is amazing.
And I will drop everything I am reading and read that one immediately. Yeah.
Immediately.
I'm all about it though. Oh, and then there's another one called Fourth Wing that has taken over Book Talk.
Oh, yes. I have seen lots of Is It Worth the Hype posts.
Right. By Rebecca Yarros. When our friend Jenna Copper was like, it's pretty good, I was like, okay. Because she and I have the exact same reading taste. So I was like, done.
Jenna says so.
If Jenna says so, then Marie will read it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Oh. Your kids are not quite old enough to follow along yet. Hugo might. But Chris Colfer's series, he's written many. He was Kurt in Glee.
Oh, yeah.
He has written a few different series of like kids books, like middle grades books. But The Land of Stories, my kids and I started it on audiobook. I got the audiobook from Sora, like from our school library, and downloaded it to my phone. And we listened to it all the way up the mountain, all the way down the mountain, 2 weekends in a row. So like 4 solid hours of like an 8 or 7 hour book. They are hooked, my children.
Oh, that's so cute.
It is. And I'm hooked too. It's one of those where I'm like thinking about it after the fact. And we've gone now on this whole, because it's, 2 kids fall into a magical book and they find themselves in like the land of stories. And there's all these different kingdoms. And it's Cinderella's kingdom and Snow White's kingdom. And they have to like find their way home. And there's all of these mysteries and they're on a quest. we have been now watching like all the Shrek movies, like all of these fairy tales and different story movies. We're on a whole kick and we are obsessed with this audiobook. And so, fun fact for teachers, teacher parents, anybody out there who has somebody that is a emerging or I will say struggling reader. My daughter has dyslexia. She's going into 2nd grade. Her auditory processing is definitely by leaps. And I'm not just going to say it's only this audiobook, but I will say I see a huge difference from sitting. You kind of can't tell, like from her eyes, you can't tell if she's getting it, but then she asks these really poignant questions hours after we stopped reading. And it's really cool. So I think we all know as teachers that we can always help our kids with auditory processing. That's always like a good thing. So
it's a great option to have. I would say kind of in the same vein of like an extra book that I have to add to that list. I've been doing a workbook. I posted about it on Instagram and then I never posted about it again, but I did get a lot of questions about it. I'm doing a workbook called the ADHD Toolkit for Women. It's a workbook and a guide to overcome ADHD challenges and win at life. And as terrible and corny as that title sounds, the workbook's actually very, very helpful and nice.
Good.
And I've kind of been using it like a journal. It is a workbook. So like you can write inside of it, and it has like quizzes and prompts, and it's very helpful. It actually helps you advocate for yourself. I've had a hard time
that's nice.
Speaking with doctors about this and getting taken seriously about things like this. And it's been great. It's written by Sarah Davis and Linda Hall. So yeah, I would definitely put that back out there on the practical life book checklist. Cause I know we talked about neurodivergence and stuff a little bit back in December.
Yeah.
Now I'm working on my own and not ignoring my kids, but working on my own because I know that my understanding myself is a big part of understanding how I parent and how my kids are, because they are me.
In the airplane, you have to put on your mask first. So
this is correct.
Yes, there you go. I'm here for it, and I want to hear more about it.
Yeah.
When we stop recording, I want you to tell more about this workbook. Friends, we have not said this at all during this podcast episode, but all of these books will be linked in a couple of different places. We want to first and foremost encourage you to shop from bookshop.org or from your local independent booksellers, because the big corporations are coming for them, and we don't want to see them go away. And at the same time, we also know about the convenience and the financial aspect of sellers like Amazon. So we get it. These are linked in both places in our different storefronts and wish lists, etc. And I'm going to push Amanda to start some fights on Instagram with the books that she didn't like.
Ooh, I should.
Okay, so make sure you're following us there. That'll be fun.
I'll be starting fights over there.
Head to the show notes. You can follow us on Instagram from there. You can check out our wish lists of books and things and let us know what you think about these different titles and what you have to suggest. Or what you're like, never read this. Let us know, because we like that too.
We still have a few exciting episodes coming up within our Can't BNT series, and we hope that you'll stick around with us the rest of the summer for more good times interviewing authors, both PD and otherwise. So we are really, really excited. Someone is coming up still we haven't talked to yet.
Yeah. And it's going to knock your socks off here, people. Okay. Friends, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. And thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks again for listening to Brave New Teaching.
We'd love to keep the conversation going over on Instagram.
And while you're there, check out the links in our bio for the most up-to-date events going on in the Brave New Teaching community.
Thanks for being here, and have a great week at school.